Hello and welcome to the Mortal Kombat Minute, the podcast where we analyze, criticize, and memorialize the 1995 film Mortal Kombat, one accusatory minute at a time. I'm Phil Casper from philcasper.net.
I'm Spanish from GameFixShow.com.
And we are on minute number 10. This minute starts with Liu Kang and his grandfather talking about Chan, R.I.P. Chan, and it ends with the chief priest telling Liu Kang that he will fail at the tournament.
What a jerk.
What a jerk, indeed. Well, before we get to there, we're finishing up our conversation between Liu Kang and his grandfather.
Yeah, we finally actually get to hear the end of it, so that's good.
Yes, indeed. And Liu Kang is still just unbelieving, and like he even tells his grandfather, it's like, it's not enough that you filled my head with that nonsense, you know, you had to go and fill Chan's head with it as well. Then
he says something like, how can a wise man, like in other words him, believe something like that? And then his grandfather pretty much said, well, we all believe it, including your brother. Yep. So that kind of gave it the validity that I think maybe he was looking for. Yes, I don't know. That's what I got out of that.
But I mean, but by the fact that Liu Kang refers to it as a simple contest.
Yeah.
And if you have any background in knowing what Mortal Kombat is, I mean, like the concept is simple, but I mean, it's a very serious contest. Like, people die.
Yeah. Well, it's apparently it's to save the world, but we'll get into that later.
Indeed.
Right after that scene, actually, because you know that they're kind of standing at right where his brother died, was killed by Shang Tsung,
right.
And when that scene ends, they kind of go back to the actual. I don't even know what you call that area there. The
temple courtyard.
The courtyard.
Yeah,
okay, courtyard.
I called it a courtyard because it's outside. I mean,
yeah, that makes sense. Well, the camera kind of goes up the steps. Obviously, it's being carried by somebody,
right?
And it goes past all like monks standing in lines on each side.
Yep. Well, something I noticed, was that like these kids, like they're still like children, like running in to join the conversation or whatever, like everything that's happening. Like, why are these kids always late to these events? Like, they were late coming, like in welcoming Chan.
Yeah, because they're kids.
And Liu whenever he was first on board, and now they're late coming into this debate, it seems like.
Let me ask you this: do you actually believe that was a mistake on the kids' parts, or they had to do this?
I think they had to do it, although I think there was one mischievous kid that was like, I'm just going to race all the way up there. And you see him, you're following him along with him while he's running down the middle of this aisle, this break of people that are arguing back and forth. And one guy steps out from line and file and like grabs him before he was going to run all the way up to Liu.
Yeah, you're like, okay, that's good enough. You need to just stop right there.
Like, if that was me, and that was my dad or whatever, I would have gotten a whooping. I don't know.
Yeah, the monks are obviously a little confused, I think, because we kind of get into it, but it's obvious that Liu Kang isn't the most welcome at this point.
Yeah, because as we're coming into this shot from outside of the courtyard and then into it, it's just a swooping shot almost, and you can hear the rabble of the crowd, arguments going back and forth. Actually, I was listening closely. I was listening to this minute with my eyes closed to see what else I could pick up on, and like some people were just saying no, or I think I heard an impossible somewhere around there, and you can even see in the crowd like. What's that? Like, it seemed like they were clearly divided in half. One was for Liu Kang being the chosen one and participating in the tournament, and the other half is against it. So like, my question is, which half do you think was the half that was for and which half against?
Well, you know, that's actually a great question. For me, when I saw it, it looked like there was more people on the left than there were on the right. I don't know if that is even a thing. So I would say the people on the right were for it, because what I did notice is a few people on the right weren't really arguing. They were just kind of like looking, and they were trying to see. But most everybody on the left, except for the guys closest to his grandfather, weren't yelling, if you notice that. Yeah, so okay. I would go for the right side to be for and the left side to be against, but that's just me.
Well, in my notes, I actually have the opposite. I have
Oh,
the
cool.
left side being for
What's your
mostly.
why do you think?
So on the left side being for, I didn't really, even though I heard through like through stereo sound that more no's were coming on the left side.
Okay.
Like visually looking, it didn't look like too many people were against the idea. Particularly that group of elders that are closer to the front, nearest to
Yeah.
the grandfather and Liu. And then, but on the right side, I could see a lot of, like hand waving, like, no, no, no. What, one guy was like standing, wagging his finger back and forth, like, not so fast.
Mm.
And then
Okay.
even one other guy, like, was zealous, like not zealous, but like he was just enthusiastic and like stepped into in the middle aisle a little bit and like did this pinching motion with his hand, like shut your mouth.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That could be. Or see, I took that as like, you shut your mouth, he's allowed to be here.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
so, or whatever, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because Lu's grandfather is advocating for Liu to participate in the tournament. He's like, as we're coming up on the front of this crowd here, the grandfather is saying Liu has been given the dream. He's the chosen one.
Yeah, the dream. I thought that was interesting. He actually used the word the dream because it looks like, I'm guessing all these other monks maybe wanted this. Obviously, his brother wanted that dream, but that didn't really quite work out the way he wanted it.
Well,
exactly. I thought that was a very interesting word, very chosen word, you know.
Well, in that respect, Chan was given the dream. He was just part of the dream. I think the dream was that premonition that we saw earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because there was no what other dream would we be talking about? I don't know.
From the literal dream, right?
Right. Exactly.
Well, then they say that he's the chosen one. What the heck does that mean? But okay, so but right when that happens, the chief priest, as he's referred to in the credits, if you will, played by John Fujaka. I can't say his name.
I'll allow it. Fujioka.
Sure, why not?
There we go. John Fujioka. I really like his first name more.
John, well, that's easier to do, but he's actually been on a lot of like Chinese films in that. So you can, if you really want to do some IMDb, and probably not a lot of American if you be familiar with it, but like mostly like Asian films and that.
Okay.
But he was not very happy with his grandfather saying that he's given the dream, he's going to be the chosen one, and then he actually says, no, he left our temple, turned his back on us. And then asks him, why have you come back? So you could see that there's definitely a split between the two.
Right. And there's some bad, like, it feels like there's some bad blood there.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. There are definitely a lot of monks in this temple that are holding a grudge against Liu Kang. And I was reading up a little bit on the Mortal Kombat lore about the Temple of Light, and
I like to do this. Yeah.
And then there's now I can't even remember. I think it was the White Lotus clan that partners with the Temple of Light. There we go.
It is. See, there you go. See, I actually knew that from the video game, but yes, okay.
I haven't played as many of the video games. I just really like the movie. So
no, you're fine.
Yeah. So researching on the lore there, like the White Lotus clan.
Yep.
I guess it's a clan. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are like basically almost like the Shaolin monk elites almost.
Yes.
Is that
that's pretty accurate? Yeah, that's actually very accurate.
Because they're holed away up in the mountains. They're even more remote than the Temple of Light monks.
It's so funny because like this movie only covers like the actual like original Mortal Kombat story, if you will, because obviously with all the games that come out lately, the story has been different. They've been adding characters and that. So, but I digress. That's pretty much what we're looking at. It's like the original story,
right? And I even just forgot the original path that I was going to take. But
no, you're fine.
But like every generation, these monks come together to choose a warrior that is to represent them in the tournament.
Yes.
And apparently that warrior could be both from the White Lotus clan and the Temple of Light, or they could
Right.
be different. But
It's like they're allies.
yeah,
I think that's the best way to
there
put
we
it.
go. There we go.
So Liu Kang pretty much says, I want to represent, as you said, the Order of Light at the tournament. And then the chief priest then asks him for what reason. And I think that question really, because you really want to know, and it really tells you what Liu Kang is thinking at that very moment.
Yeah. Kind of a test for
Go
pureness
ahead,
of
yeah.
heart in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
And,
But before he could answer, we see a figure behind like a curtain, or like a
like a silhouette.
right,
A
like a
silhouette.
silhouette. Yeah,
There
that's
we
a good
go.
word for it.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
struggling to think of the word earlier too when I
yeah,
was
like
writing my
yeah,
notes.
curtain, yeah. And he's wearing this interesting looking hat. And I actually have a description of the hat. You ready for this one?
Sure.
You ready? It is a conical Asian hat, or a rice hat, or a coolie hat. I don't know why those are called that, but they said originating in East and Southeast Asia, particularly Indonesia, Vietnam, China, Japan, and Korea. This style of hat is used primarily as protection from the sun and rain. So there you have it.
And so that's what this silhouetted figure is wearing. We
It's
don't
weird.
know who
Yeah,
this is, but I mean,
not yet.
if you're familiar with Mortal Kombat, you have a pretty good idea of who's supposed
Yeah,
to
I
come
think
through.
we got it.
But yeah, like, well, also you're given a bunch of other clues as well. Shortly after that shot, like wind chimes are going, like all of a sudden
Oh
wind
yeah.
starts picking up. You hear some thunder, some rolling
Mhm.
thunder off in the distance. Some candles are blowing out all around the courtyard grounds,
Yeah.
and then we're taken away from that shot back to Liu Kang and the chief priest and his grandfather. The chief
Yep.
priest saying, like, "Is that your only reason? Because you're gonna fail." If
Well, you forgot to say. Actually, Kang actually said, because he
oh,
asked him what's the reason, and his reason was because the man that killed my brother will be there. That was like
right,
his original uh, thought. And then the priest says
yeah,
that can't be your only reason, or you will fail. Like it,
exactly,
he did not mince words.
yep.
It was just that, and that pretty much brings us to the end of the minute.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
one final
Please.
note, I guess,
Yeah, yeah.
with the shot of the chief priest saying you will fail.
Yeah.
I just noticed that at that temple, like at the tall temple in the background, there's a lightning rod at the top. For some reason that
Good
just stuck
catch.
out to me.
Yeah, yeah, good catch.
And it's because, well, and I'm like, that couldn't have been originally on the temple whenever it was
I don't
created.
know.
So I did
That's an interesting thought.
so I
Yeah.
did some digging. It turns
Okay.
out, it turns out that this temple in Thailand was originally founded in the early 1400s, and
Okay.
the first historical lightning rod in the world wasn't even like detailed, theorized, or used and installed until around the mid 1700s. So this
Oh,
lightning rod is definitely at least 300 years younger than the temples now.
gotcha.
So little
Okay.
little
Interesting
history
detail.
lesson, trivial factoid there for you.
I like it. I like it. Bring those. You always bring those, so that's fine.
I actually have some interesting factoids for the next episode,
Ooh.
but particularly because I actually had it noted down, but I forgot to mention them earlier. Was when those kids are running into the courtyard, we
Yeah.
pass by a couple of bonsai trees, like
I saw those too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot to mention that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to note those because they come into play for the next episode.
Okay.
A little teaser there for you.
I like it. I like it.
Well, yeah, that's all the notes that I have. Do you have anything else you wanna mention about this minute?
The only thing is when they were running through the kids were running through the doorway there. Um, the interesting artwork on top of it, like right above the doorway.
Oh, yeah.
What it reminds me of is the wall, the Great Wall of China. I
Okay,
think
how it's kind of like winding.
that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, it's
Oh,
kind of hard to tell because it isn't a very long shot of that, but it's interesting and maybe something to look at when if the listeners out there are watching it. But that's kind of what I got out of it. But
okay.
you could tell that it's old because the one side has been kind of crumbled.
Yeah. There
So,
there has been some weathering going on. This is an actual ancient ruin that they're shooting
oh yeah,
in on site. So so there are some artifacts that have been
yeah,
tested by the elements. But
and
yeah,
that's all.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Well,
You're welcome.
that wraps it up for this minute. Thanks so much for joining us. As always, I'm Phil Casper,
I'm Spanish.
and this has been another edition of the Mortal Kombat Minute.